Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my presentation titled Women in Horror in Java. My name is Fitri Merawati and I'm from Ahmad University in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Today, I will be sharing my research conducted with my colleagues on the roles and representation of women in horror stories in Java. Let's start with the background. Women in the horror genre are major attraction for readers worldwide. The suspenseful scenes leave a lasting impression on audiences. However, while women in horror have been studied in movies, novels, and folktales, this research focuses on their roles in horror stories specifically set in Java. Problem and adjective slide. The objective of this study is to analyze the recurrence of women-related issues in Java's horror stories and to uncover the meaning behind these phenomena. The key question we address is how do female characters recur as elements in Java's horror stories analyzed through Vladimir Probst's narrative structure? And then moving on to the literature review. Horror is a genre closely tied to the supernatural and mystical. Prohaskova identifies 9 horror subgenres, including rural, cosmic, apocalyptic, and psychological horror, among others. We also use Vladimir Propp narrative structure, which outlines recurring function in traditional narrative. Propp's theory serves as a framework for analyzing the fixed element present in Java's horror stories. Okay. Vladimir Propp, in his book Morphology of the Folktale, based on his research on 100 Russian fairy tales, found 31 function. What is the mean by function according to Propp is a fixed element, similarity, a sheriff of action that have a connection with another sheriff of action. And then let's look the methodology. Okay. Our research uses library research methods and document analysis. We reviewed horror stories published in print and online from 2021 to 2023 by applying prop narrative structure. We identified recurring function in 10 selected stories set in Java. Data analysis followed this Miles and Huberman's model, including data reduction, presentation, and conclusion. Okay. And then finding and discussion. Now, let's move to the finding and discussion. Based on the analysis, we identified 9 recurring functions in these stories. Number one, women are often the main character with diverse portrayals from brave individuals to supernatural beings. And then two, characters often leave their homes for secret places such as forests or mountains. Number three, many characters encounter or enter the supernatural realms. Number four, villains, often supernatural beings, disturb the characters. Number five, the presence of friends or family members play a significant role in their story. And then number six, which shamans and rituals unique to Japanese culture frequently appear. Number seven, some characters lack something significant or seek to obstinate. Okay, and then number eight, magic tools are found, aiding the characters in achieving their goals. And nine, finally, many characters are rescued, returning to the real world. Then let's move to the next slide. Okay, number one, woman as the main character. Uh, Female character as central characters are found in 8 out of 10 horror stories. In the other 2 horror stories, the female characters, although not the main characters, plays an important role in the story. Their ages vary. Some are teenagers, university students, and adult women. All female characters are faced with problems with the supernatural world. only two characters are described as ghosts. The other female characters are portrayed as brave and curious about a mystery. And number two, a family member leaves the house. Then horror stories fulfill this recurring function where a family member leaves the house or a place that is considered secret. All the characters leave, some to the mountains, haunted swamps, forests, and other secret places. And number three, a character enters a supernatural realm and or encounters a supernatural being. Then stories fulfill this function, with characters entering the supernatural realms or meeting supernatural beings. Some characters are aware of the presence of this supernatural being and some are not. The way the characters enter the supernatural places varies. Some are in the forest, on a mountain, in a remote village, and at home. And number four, the criminal trouble or hurts one of the family members. Nine stories fulfill this function, with the villain distressing or educating a family member. The villain in Vladimir Propp's concept of narrative structure theory adapted to horror stories is a supernatural being. This creature disturbs the characters who are climbing a mountain, playing in the forest, in a swamp, in the empty house. Only one story does not feature this function, which is the story of 11 tahun menikah baru bisa hamil. And number five, the presence of characters, friends, or family. The presence of friends or family is present in all stories. The father, mother, grandfather, uncle, and best friend are the people who are directly involved in the story. They are the triggers for the formation of the plot toward a story full of horror. They also help save the characters back to the real world after unconsciously entering the supernatural realms. Number six, the presence of a witch doctors or breviary. Uh, it means doctor is shamans. This function is found in horror stories in Java. Shamanism and pesugihan or supernatural power are the two things that are tied with the word of shamans. Two stories that have this function are Kerajaan Gaib Pulau Mas and Korban Duda Paksa. The presence of which shaman and pesugihan or supernatural powers show the typical story of horror stories in Java. And then seven, a family members lack something or wants to get something. This function is found into horror stories entitled Story of Dendam Korban Roda Paksa and 11 tahun menikah baru bisa hamil. A female character who has been aging for 11 years wants a child in her small family. Another character, a father wants to avenge the death of his daughter who was raped by Japanese soldiers. In then 8, a character obtains a magic tool. This function is found into horror stories entitled Dendam Korban Roda Paksa and 11 tahun menikah baru bisa hamil. The female character finds an object that turns out to be an eel. She helps and cares for it sincerely and then releases it into the river. After being helped, the woman became pregnant and believed it was God reward for her kindness. Another character gets a tool in the form of a doll that can take revenge on the perpetrator of rape. And then, rescued character. This function is found in 8 horror stories. Story characters who are disturbed by supernatural beings enter the supernatural realms, meet supernatural beings can finally be rescued back to the real world. The role are friend and family who have tried in various ways and prayers to return to the character safely. The female characters in the story, Dendam Korban Roda Paksa, could not be saved and become a vengeful female cause. And then the conclusion. In conclusion, this study reveals the recurring function in Java horror stories, highlighting women's in central characters. The stories showcase brave and curiosity, offering a unique lens on gender roles in traditionally patriarchal contexts. Additionally, cultural elements like witch shamans or pesugihan enrich this narrative. Okay. Okay, thank you for your attention. I'm very happy. See you next time. Uh, if you want to discuss something, you can write your Q&A session in below. Thank you.